Hello, I am back on my live with my sound sorted. Turning my music down. I was actually just going to wait, see if I can get somebody online just to check my sound. I think it's fine. If it's not, I will clear this video as well, like I did the last two. Just wait till we're streaming live. So I just wonder how everyone is doing. This is the first year that there's a lot of language about going into the feminine. And this is the first year, so I'm looking at my phone just to check my streaming. And the first year, so to speak, in my opinion, of going into the feminine, what does this mean? So I didn't plan to talk about this, but normally I'll just channel what I'm meant to be talking about. So I've just done a little one on TikTok. The crown COVID was started here. So this is the awakening starting point. So I just had my haircut. The second year was here at the third eye. And then this is the third year. And it's in the throat. And this throat chakra connects the heaven to the earth. And this is why heaven is the father energy, the light energy, the source, the yang, whatever terminology you want to use. And then going into the darkness, the feminine, everything is into the body, which is why actually we can see a lot of people being really ill as well. That's what I popped on as well. There's a lot of people in hospital with heart issues, and COVID or not COVID, is detoxing. All colds and flus and COVID and everything is detoxing. Menopause is detoxing. I was talking about this earlier this morning actually with somebody, and Graham Hancock, that's the guy I was trying to think of, he's now got his stuff on Netflix, which is really good because I've been researching with, not him, but I've researching for years, as I've explained before. Now, he talks about ancient history and the Mayan civilizations and what's happened to the earth and what are all these megalithic buildings and constructions around the planet, and pyramids, and why they're all similar constructions and things like this. This is the trauma that is evidence in physical form on the earth. So I studied the ley lines of the earth and where the continents have moved and shifted over time and century and years and decades and times beyond. So this is how it correlates, and it links to how we are dealing with trauma itself. So trauma is actually to be loved. Trauma saves us from dying. Trauma blocks the nervous system, and it's blocked the nervous system on earth in the same way with these brick buildings. Now in the future, I believe we won't need cars to travel. This is the metal that keeps us safe outside. It means instead of astral traveling, we need a vehicle. It replicates our vehicle actually, your body. And the heart is the stone wall, so it's your house, and that's how we are in stone buildings at the moment to keep us safe. So this is in history how the stone buildings were built to keep the earth and humanity safe from the war that had started. And that's why we keep replicating war, because when you've got a trauma that you're not aware of, you keep replicating it. It keeps repeating. It's a pattern. So now is the time on earth where we are ready to remember because of the earth's frequency. Now, what they haven't told us on the news and things like this is about how the moon and the stars and everything and the air pressure and all of these things are changing as well. This gives us knowledge and faith, or gives me knowledge and faith, as I lost my faith in the system a long, long time ago. So this is why, okay, what do I trust? I trust that the tree grows outside, the grass is green, the sky is blue, etc. So I studied this, and then I realized it correlates to exactly what my TCM degree was in, and how we diagnose with wind, fire, earth, water, and the elements are wood, earth, fire, water, and how that links with the 12 organ systems and the 6 elements. And this is where it links to the biblical, the 6, the 12, the followers. And then I had my own Christ consciousness awakening, which I learned, and I put all this together like a pattern. And this is a little bit how trauma works when we're unraveling it and it can heal. Then all these little secrets come up. And this is a little bit like what's been happening in the last few years from COVID awakening, spiritual awakening within all of us, which is what I believe COVID is. And it's a detox process. And so we are now able to see and accept all these untruths, let's say, and stories. But the thing is, there's a lot of anger arising, and although we have a collective trauma as well, and all the stories coming up, we all have our individual stories as well of our soul. So we have a lot of things about houses, jobs, relationships, family, wounds, all of these things relating back to our inner child and relating back to our past lives. And this is how, when a cell replicates, it gets bigger. Like as you look at if you look at the planet, you take a perception and take it back and back and back. And then as you go in and into the planet, you go down and down, and you start to go into the cells and how the cells work. So it's a little bit this is how spiritual awakening works. I'm doing this because it helps you take a perception and take a look at it, take a step back when you're dealing with your own shit, let's say, coming up, which is what it needs to clean, it needs to come up, it needs to be seen. So we need to take a step back and a step back. I tell you now that everybody is going through something right now, big time. Okay, and this has been going on for a very long time, but I know we've got our own stories, but the talking about it doesn't particularly matter. It's getting to the root of the pain. So this is again in the Egyptian, I should bring my pictures down of Egypt. I've had the medicine men used to work. It's like a bow and arrow, if you see it like this. So you get the pinpoint of the frequency that is causing you any disturbance. There's a lot of anger rising because there is. When we realize things have been happening to us, whether it's on a personal level or on a bigger collective level, this manipulation, that's what it is. So this planet, when we realize this, so I'm jumping to subject, but when we realize there's been manipulation, or we've been hoodwinked, whatever word, you've been manipulated, you get very angry inside, you feel very toxic, you feel very upset, which is actually a reaction of the fear that you've allowed that to happen to you. But just take a step back and allow it to purge, because we've also got the healing on Earth, which is truth, but we've also had another energy source come into the planet, and it's really confused what the natural layer of healing is. But this is actually what coercive manipulation is, which is why it's happening on a massive collective level. And this is why then it's happening and it's coming into our own space, our own heart space, our own house, our own work, our own jobs and relationships. But it has to be seen to be healed. So it's actually been here for thousands of years, is what I'm saying. But what's happened is it's come because the healing, the light is really, really strong. It's come up. Then the actual other forces have come closer down to the earth. So it's like this light and dark war, and it's here, very strong on both ends. But what the darkness is, it confuses it. And I've even found it quite hard to diagnose different people unless I really do connect to their higher self, their DNA, and I have to connect to what their truth is, because it can be an internal energy and an outside energy, or it can be the internal energy of the soul trauma coming up. What I'm saying there, it can be something that you've actually digested into your aura or into your physical space, and it's not an attachment. But again, going off on a different trail, but all of this connects. This is why I don't plan what I talk about, just sort of channels in, and I know when I come online, it's what people need to be hearing. I just wanted to add in, if anyone, I'm doing a bit of traveling now, I'm doing talking if need be, as people are quite poorly, but I can come to people's homes, I can do healings, I can do canvas, I can do soul retrievals, and I can do group works of channeling and things, just to let you know if that's need be in your area, because a lot of people are needing it everywhere. And the other thing, which is quite exciting, that I talked about, that I've been seeing, is the menopause has been recognised now as very similar to stress. So hot flushes and detoxing, which again is, I've been saying it for thousands. It's all the liver detoxing, which actually goes down to the root of trauma, which has happened to the soul on the earth. So we come back. So the same symptoms, if you treat your body as if you treat it detoxing trauma, your symptoms of menopause will subside. Same with COVID, long COVID. They just manifest slightly differently because it depends on what frequency of trauma that you're healing at that present time. So it really, as there's 12 organs and they all have different frequencies of emotion. So if you're dealing with abandonment, well, we all are, a certain level, but it depends, your body will be dealing with something at a certain time. And it may be stored in the kidney, it may be stored in the liver, it may be stored. The liver is the organ that clears it, but the fear is in the kidney. You've got self-love and neglect, which is in the spleen. You've got heart issues with deep relationship issues, and also the heart is very related to the water element, which is fear. You've got sexual energy now coming in and out, which is having a big, not because when you have that exchange of energy, it goes really deep into the nervous system. And we do have other forces, which is something I didn't talk out loud about a few years ago, but we do have entities that are other forces in the galaxy, and they do hijack your nervous system. And when it comes in, you can have a spiritual attack as well. And especially if it comes through with the sexual practice and it's not done safely. And this is my trauma, and that is how I know this very well, what was my energy and what was going on when I was healing and what I need to clear. So there's 12 organs, but there's 6 element divisions, we call it in TCM, which is interesting. But you can have, depending on what layer you're healing at the time, depends on what frequency you're purging, as well as the collective. But the root is you can just detox the liver. Again, go onto my YouTube channel, have a look. It's free. It's good if you know how to physically detox and what spiritually you're meeting at the moment. So how to know what level you're at is literally what is in your reality. So you will be talking to yourself through your reality. So if you're in a difficult situation with work, or there's lies or manipulations, or there's difficulty with your finances, or there's difficulty, your car's broken down, or the house is not working, or your phone is not working, or different lines of communication. This is literally a mirror, or children is a good mirror as well. Literally, because that's your literally direct communication of how you're connecting to your inner child. So if there's any fractures, anywhere your problems are, shows you where you want to heal from your DNA, from your soul. Sorry. So this is how I work with people, because you don't know until you know the situation and the vibration that person's at, and how they're ready, and what frequency they're ready to heal. But this way is a big one about the truth. So it's literally your body is meeting your consciousness. So consciousness is coming into the body. And so this is why everyone's feeling so much more now. And then we have the vaccine, which basically, if we just had the healing going on without the vaccine, it would be nice and clear, a little bit clear. But I'm not against the vaccine, because also it does make things worse. And when things get worse, you have to look at it so it gets better quicker. So do you see what I mean? There's no good or bad. There just is. There's no right or wrong. There just is, because the dark and the manipulation helps you to hit and check your soul out. And when you do that, you vibrate higher, so nothing can come in. And this is this safety rule, these boundaries. We're all in this together. All these terminologies. It's all truth. But we have to check first. This is the soul, and this is where the vaccine came in. I don't call it, the vaccine is not just the vaccine, it's part of the dark forces. You see what I mean? So in a way, I'm like, bring it on. So it kind of shows you, this is how I was doing this the other day in a video, and it made it quite clear. So it's funny, isn't it? Because you've got there's 5 elements, but the 6th one I discovered is the frequency, is the soul. So it doesn't really have an organ, it's just channeled from source. But we've got the 5 in the physical form. When we get hit out of alignment, so when we've had a vaccine or you've had trauma, people that don't have the vaccine have had trauma, so they know something's up. So you're all the same. We've all got processed trauma. That's the difference. It's processing it. You've got to relive it so it stops reoccurring. So when you get hit, with trauma or with vaccine, whatever you want to call it, your body goes out of alignment. Okay, so it goes out of alignment, and then in this thing you can get these different energies coming in, and it's very confusing, very confusing. One person says one thing, one says another. We can see this in leadership and politics. One's going, lots of arguments and anger rising. It doesn't make sense. What's going on? What's this? When we get back into alignment with our energy field, our elements do this, and the straight line down where my fingernails are is this line. When the stars align, when everything is aligned, when the body is connected like this with these organ systems, the healing comes because it can flow. This is breath work. This is chi. This is life force energy connecting from the earth and then from down. When it does this, it's struggling. Okay, and then we attract the same frequency of what's out, and we pull it in like a magnet. So you know, when you have a magnet, it does this. When you're out of alignment, you pull the same frequency to you to say, this is you, this is you. And then when you recognize it and face it, your body will pop back into alignment. And then you behave like a magnet that does that. You repel. So this is your aura space. So you can pop in and out. Okay, you can pop in and out. The best way that you stay in is the soul retrieval work, where you collect your soul parts. And this is where you have to go and meet your traumas. You go and meet them and resolve them. And when they resolve, they don't keep hitting you. All right, and you don't go out. I think that's all I want to say today. My body's gone quiet. But what I'm thinking about, yeah, I just did this in a video, and because I can see my reflection, it worked out quite well. So I hope that explains, because the way I work generally when I do deep healings is I don't talk much. So I find that a lot of therapies, a lot of talking can re-trauma, because it's really repeating that no one's really listening to our pain. The only way we can actually heal is to truly feel our own pain, is to re-lock ourselves in with ourselves and recognize the chambers of stuff that we lock ourselves in with, which is in here. And that is hard work, but it's painful, and when we learn to love the pain, to go into the pain and suffering, then this is when the amazing enlightenment, healing of the break open of the heart happens. And this is when this can pop back, and then our frequencies like this, and then you can clear your space, clear your body, and you vibrate very, very high. And then any of these attacks, you know, they don't even come in. And this is how I see the future, actually. It's to do with the pyramids. In the future, at the moment, we're a bit like this, and then it's going to push and push and push. The pressure is going to get higher and higher and higher, which is going to be tough, okay? But when it reaches a full peak, it means it's gonna it won't be allowed in again. All right, so this is where the pyramid actually keeps. The pyramid is on the throat chakra of the earth. Okay, and the energy is actually the earth, not the pyramid. The pyramid is there to block it because it's not quite safe. We're not at this right frequency yet. But as this goes, then this will push through, and we will be connected to source once again. We will see the galaxy, and we will be connected with other extraterrestrial beings, and we won't have the fear, and we won't die when we see it from panic. And this is the beauty to look forward to. And the earth will then become her elementary self, and be able to be free without concrete and metal. And because all of this on the earth, she can't breathe either. This is all to do with the breath. Okay, and this will all break away and fall apart. And first of all, we need the systematic toxic system to fall apart first. And so it's got to happen layer by layer by layer. And then when it hits down onto the root one, this is when I believe the pyramid will shine through, which will be amazing. And that energy will be allowed to be released once again. And we will see in all many different dimensions. But I hope this video helps. My videos are here just to help from what's going on. Like, I did all this research because I needed to understand what was happening in my world, and it just made me feel safer. The knowledge I connected to made me feel didn't make the healing easier. Okay, so I just want to share that healing is quite a difficult process, but it is a beautiful process. Okay, and it's to be loved. And I'm sending you lots of love. Yeah, take care. Bye bye.